real Chicagoans that I talk to, that I communicate with, mostly black and brown, actually, tell me that you don't seem to know the difference between illegal aliens and real Chicago citizens. They feel that you are siding with the illegal aliens over them in their communities. And okay. Sadly,
William, let's get to the question.
Let's get to the question. The real question is simply this. I don't know how to make it any more direct. An illegal alien from Nicaragua grabbed a woman on the north side last week, bashed her head into the sidewalk, knocked her unconscious, and raped her. If that had been your wife, Stacey.
Okay, all right, we're not going to answer it. Thank you. Thanks, William.
All right.
Would you want ICE to deport her?
All right. Let's move on.
Yes or no?
Let's move on.
Answer the question as a man, not as mayor, but as a man. Would you want
Thank you.
to deport that rapist?
All right. Taman?
Okay,
Mayor.
That's the answer. That's the answer for real Chicago.
Boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what happens when you have an approval rating of single digits. The mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, just got very bad news by President Trump. There's a lot going on in Chicago between the police department and also the police patrol chief and the mayor and the governor. Right now, the nation is up in arms about the fact that the police department and Brandon Johnson have been influenced to not respond to federal agents who need help. So there's a lot of back and forth right now. Brandon Johnson has been on tape saying that there is a civil war brewing between the people and the federal government. And this is very scary stuff. But Trump just did something that we have to talk about. President Trump just called to jail Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Illinois Governor JB Pritzker, after they failed to protect ICE officers following a terror attack. Here is Trump's Truth Social post that is blowing up all over the internet because of what these guys are responsible for and inspiring the patrol chief to not respond to federal agents who were under attack, which is now have the whole nation up in arms. Even Grady Judd out of Florida and many different patrol chiefs around the country are saying, man, this is crazy. This is bad. This is something that can spark and it has sparked national outrage for what they have done in Chicago. So this is a potential invocation of the Insurrection Act by President Trump. So before we get to that point, here's what President Trump wrote on Truth Social this morning. He says, Chicago mayor should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. Governor Pritzker also. You want to know what Brandon Johnson's response to this was? Yeah, the fact that Trump is now pressuring to lock up another black man in America. He's made this about race instead of the fact that what he did is actually something much worse than anything of what the hell what is he talking about at this point? But that's what happens when you try to emotionally get people to support you to the point where now you're saying that he's going after you for being racist. Yeah. So here we go. Here's how the police department, again, in Chicago is pretty much very mad, and they vote a no confidence on the patrol chief, John Hine, who we have spoken about before. John Hine violated a code of conduct within the law enforcement. He needs to be relieved of his duty by, of course, Brandon Johnson. But here we go. Let's actually take a look at this of what's going on in Chicago and why Trump is calling to jail Brandon Johnson and Governor JB Pritzker.
And we also learned today the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police has issued a vote of no confidence for the supervisor who allegedly told officers to not respond to a shooting involving federal agents over the weekend. It happened when agents say a woman armed with a weapon rammed into their vehicle. Yesterday, Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling defended Chief of Patrol John Hine, saying there was likely some sort of miscommunication. Bavino says he spoke with Snelling and that he does not expect any issues in the future.
Yeah, so a vote of no confidence. Right now, people are just up in arms about this, and as they should, right? Because there is a miscommunication. No, I don't think so. This was literally a crime. And in the many years that a lot of these people have been working in law enforcement, they never expected that a patrol chief would literally call to stand down. So where did that call come from? Many people are saying it came from, of course, the mayor. And something that I wanted to talk about, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just absolutely very important to talk about before we get to Trump invoking again the Insurrection Act, which he feels is very important now. We have to talk about what's going on with Democrats and leadership, and of course, J.B. Pritzker and the political violence. So this is a clip here that we have to talk about as to what they're doing and why Trump is basically calling to jail these people and basically about to invoke the Insurrection Act. Before we continue with this, I want to tell you guys something very important. Gold has gone mainstream. You're seeing it everywhere, and the prices keep climbing. Every day, more and more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of this? How do you actually invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? That's where Noble Gold comes in, and they help you. And I need you guys to listen to this, because Noble Gold specialists are trained to help investors like you go from confused to confident, from wondering what exactly is going to happen next to knowing exactly what to do. Whether you're looking to roll over an old 401k into gold IRA, or want physical coins and bars delivered right into your home, Noble Gold Investments makes the process simple, safe, and stress-free. You'll get a step-by-step guide, transparent pricing, and US-based services from a team that handles over 2.5 billion in precious metal transactions. With Noble Gold Investments protecting your growing wealth, isn't that their job? Yeah, it's their commitment. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com today to claim your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Noble Gold, helping you build a better and stronger future. All the links will be down in the description box below. There's phone numbers you can call. I'll see you guys there.
The state of Illinois is going to use every lever at our disposal to resist this power grab and get Noam's thugs the hell out of Chicago.
Get Noam's thugs the hell out of Chicago. A couple of weeks after the tragic murdering of Charlie Kirk, if that kind of rhetoric doesn't incite violence, I don't know what does. I mean, he has some nerve saying that, James. I mean, any even-handed, objective American. This is just the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. You probably heard it today, but I wanted you to chance to react to it here.
It's despicable. J.B. Pritzker should be ashamed of himself. Every Democrat should be. What they're trying to do is dehumanize their political opponents, people they disagree with, in the hopes that somebody will act upon that dehumanization. Let's talk about what we just saw this past weekend in Virginia. There is a Democrat candidate running for Attorney General, top law enforcement officer of Virginia. And it has come out that he sent text messages around fantasizing about the murdering of a Republican legislator, his wife, and his children. And it wasn't a fleeting thought. It was an extended conversation where he doubled down and tripled down and quadrupled down. Guess what? Abigail Spanberger, their candidate for governor, has not withdrawn her support. The Virginia Democratic Party has not withdrawn their support. The Democrat Attorney General's Association has not withdrawn their support. J.B. Pritzker has not condemned it. So if someone who is ostensibly going to be in charge in law enforcement of this country is going to openly talk about murdering their political opponents, and he also said, by the way, if more cops got killed, then there would be less problems with the police. So this is a man who's saying violence is the only answer. And you have the entire Democrat Party who has rallied around this individual. Nobody's condemning him. They're all standing with him. And I think that tells you where their party is right now.
It is despicable, and they will pay a price for it, James Blair. They will. And it's pretty awful stuff. Anyway.
Wow. That is wild. I told you guys this is where we're headed. This is why I always say, man, it is time for prayer. The time for prayer is now. It's not tomorrow. It's not today. It's not yesterday. It's literally now. Every moment that you wake up, you got to pray for this country because, man, I think that we are headed down a very dark path, which is just absolutely, in my opinion, disappointing to see, especially in my lifetime, as I'm, believe that I'm pretty young still. A lot of you guys in your 40s and 50s still have a whole bunch of way to go to see that the country is headed down this route. It's just not exciting. It's not exciting, to be honest with you. But here we go. So Trump is wanting to do something about it. Here we have the breaking news about it. White House officials now seriously discussing President Trump invoking the Insurrection Act, a law that would let Trump deploy active duty troops in the U.S. to quell violence and unrest. This is huge if it happens. Portland and Chicago police now have a choice to step up or get out of the way. That is the reason why Trump is even thinking about doing this, because of the fact that, again, we spoke about the patrol chief, John Hyman in Chicago, who, again, is called on radio telling, the police to stand down and not, go and help federal agents. A decision, and I quote, this coming from the White House, a decision is not expected to be imminent, one source said, but debate within the administration has shifted recently to more deeply exploring how and when the act might be invoked. This is reported by, of course, NBC in the Trump administration. So that brings me to, again, the patrol chief, Grady Judd out of Florida. I want to play this clip. I thought it was very important to see other people who have been, deputies, sheriffs, people who have worked in law enforcement for a very long time. Here he is speaking about this, and this is why it's very important. This is why you see a lot of people now in Chicago, a lot of police officers in Chicago saying, man, that was crazy.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Grady Judd. I've spent my entire adult life in law enforcement, and I have never heard of one law enforcement agency not helping another when they call for help until this weekend. When a chief of patrol, where the Chicago Police Department instructed the police officers not to run in and help their colleagues who were calling for help, who were under attack by a bunch of people clearly violating the law. That's scary. Let me give you the antithesis of that. We had a single man resist ICE agents and get away from them in our community. We sent a helicopter, a drone, K9, and 50 law enforcement officers to surround an area, and we found that guy who violently resisted ICE, and we locked him up in jail where he should have been. If you allow anarchists and criminals to run wild in your community, people will die. People will be shot. Now, let me say this. For other law enforcement leaders across this state and nation, you need to be standing up saying the same exact thing that I am. Because when you have a breakdown of the rule of law, when you allow anarchists, criminals to take over the streets and attack law enforcement officers and then not send them help, that's a slippery slope, a real slippery slope.
Wow, that is Grady Judd. Again, Grady Judd, Polk County Sheriff out of Florida, speaking about the situation. And again, people are very shocked as to what happened. I remember when a few days ago when this came out, I was like, this is big news. This is only going to get bigger throughout the country, and this will be a nationwide thing when it comes to law enforcement and the federal agents, the separation between that and how Trump would be triggered to go all out and invoke the Insurrection Act to just make sure he has control over this, because he might not be able to have control over the fact that, federal agents just aren't receiving local help. But too much as said, let's actually go to what Mayor Brandon Johnson, what he's saying, what he is telling the American people, that he believes that the reason why he is doing ICE-free zones, for those who don't know, he's doing ICE-free zones. He is trying to go to war with the federal agents. He basically said that the right wing of this country wants a rematch of the Civil War. What? You know what, man? Again, I just get to the point where I just think that these people are crazy. I think that they're trying to do their best to trigger a civil war. They're trying to do their best to trigger the little guy, the guy who has a 9-to-5, or the guy who is just like not really paying attention. And he sees this and he's like, oh man, he's got to get ready to go to war. Hey, what are they doing? What is he doing here? By the way, history lesson, the right side was the side of abolishing slavery, by the way. So there goes that. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think. There's so much going on in Chicago. Comment down below. See you guys on the next.